In the headlines, a regional relief team in Jamaica to assist with recovery operations. A full slate of activities revealed for independence. A stronger stance against commercial practices which aid poor health and alcohol use. And in sports, the West Indies registered their first 3-love T20 sweep away from home.
Broadcasting from our studios in the Pine St. Michael, this is CBC NewsNight, starting now.
Good evening and welcome. I'm Tisha Hines with the details to the news. We begin with team coverage from Jamaica. Now, we have news that the authorities have confirmed that 19 lives were lost, and that number is expected to rise. Additionally, hundreds of thousands of people are still without electricity or communication. The Jamaican government has declared the entire island a disaster area under the Disaster Risk Management Act. Now, currently in Jamaica, we have our Crystal Hoyt on the ground. We go to Crystal Hoyt. Good evening to you, Crystal.
Good evening, Tisha. Good evening to our viewers. The southern and central parishes of St. Elizabeth, Manchester, and Westmoreland remain among the hardest hit. As of this afternoon, the authorities have confirmed, like you said, 19 lives were lost, and that number is expected to rise. Military and emergency teams are clearing major roads, restoring access to isolated communities, and distributing supplies to shelters now filled with displaced families. Currently, I'm at the Office of the Disaster Preparedness and Emergency Management, where Sadima are being briefed. She says the regional response is fully mobilized.
I've arrived along with a 20-person rapid needs assessment team from across the Caribbean, representing a number of participating states as well as regional and international organizations. We have been monitoring, of course, Hurricane Melissa since the 21st of October, and we activated our regional coordination center 3 days ago in anticipation of response to our states. There were 4 states that were under threat: Jamaica, the Bahamas, the Turks and Caicos Islands, and of course Haiti. The most significant impact has been to Jamaica, where we had a direct landfall of Melissa's, a Category 5 storm.
Ms. Riley says even before Jamaica was hammered by Hurricane Melissa, Sadima was assisting the island with preparations.
Jamaica had also made a request for emergency telecommunication support, and we sent a specialist up along with a suite of equipment which was requested. They were able to do installations at parish emergency operation centers with Starlinks, and also to do repairs to HF radio communications ahead of the system so that they can maintain connectivity with the National Emergency Operations Center.
The team brought by Sadima will provide assessments of the damage. Captain Robert Harewood, Deputy Director of the Department of Emergency Management, spoke to me just before takeoff from Barbados about its mission.
We are part of a rapid needs assessment team. This team is a team that is born out of the UN agency, UNDP Development Program, and SEDIMA, and is part of the Caribbean Development Partners Group. The team is meant to be 23 or so persons with specific skill sets, which include water and sanitation, agriculture, health and mental health, housing and infrastructure, fisheries, tourism, education, and debris management, and then of course disaster management.
So, Crystal, you would have stepped out of that briefing to share with us this evening. What can you share as it relates to the main challenges on the ground now?
Well, Tisha, the biggest concern is, besides getting relief to those who need it most, are accessibility and connectivity. I can tell you that there are still communities cut off as a result of Hurricane Melissa, making it difficult for aid to reach them, and with tensions rising, looting is becoming an issue as well. This is all compounded by a lack of telecommunications. The Universal Service Fund's 7 public Wi-Fi hubs and 112 community Wi-Fi hotspots in the western region are down due to hurricane damage. power loss and internet service provider disruption is causing worry even here in Kingston, with families who are seeing the...
We do apologize for the connection, losing connection there just a bit, but as you can imagine, communication is not as it usually would be. Thank you so much, Crystal. We look forward to your continued reporting. Do stay safe, and our prayers are, of course, with our neighbors in Jamaica. Now, a disaster response team from the United States has also arrived in Jamaica. We get more in this report from TVJ.
In the shattered quiet after Hurricane Melissa's roar, the people of western and southern Jamaica are picking through the wreckage. Residents of St. Elizabeth and Westmoreland have been trying to clear fallen trees and reconnect cut-off communities for days. Amid the heartbreak, a glimmer of hope arrived Thursday afternoon as a United States Disaster Assistance Response Team DART touched down at the Norman Manley International Airport. The U.S. Disaster Assistance Response Team are making their way outside of the aircraft. This is a clear sign of what's to come.
You may have heard over the last few days, President Trump and Secretary Rubio expressed their strong support for Jamaica. As the minister alluded to, this is the first concrete example of that in terms of we're sending in not only aid on this plane, but also experts. You'll see 40 or 50 people come off of this plane, including Fairfax County Fire Rescue, search and rescue experts, because we're here to help the people of Jamaica recover from this devastating hurricane. And I hope to be out here all week long greeting other shipments as they come in.
Within the next few hours, convoys of U.S. and Jamaican personnel will be heading west, where some communities remain marooned. The team will work alongside the Office of Disaster Preparedness and Emergency Management, ODPEM, and the Jamaica Defense Force.
The main focus is relief clearance, which is happening here, logistical operation, relief distribution, and damage assessment. Relief distribution is the most critical part of it, because we have to get food, water, medicals, and other things to the persons who are out there who are suffering.
The arrival of international assistance marks a critical moment in Jamaica's recovery effort.
And of course, we'll stay on top of the recovery efforts. Back here at home, the countdown to Barbados' 59th independence celebrations has officially begun, with a full slate of activities announced by Minister of Home Affairs and Information Wilfred Abrams. The minister updated the media during a press conference earlier today at Parliament. We get more from Deandra Roberts.
From the Food and Rum Festival to the NIFCA Gala, the month of November will be packed with events reflecting Barbadian pride and achievement. Home Affairs Minister Wilfred Abrams says the activities have been given the thumbs up by the President, Her Excellency Dame Sandra Mason.
Tomorrow we have the National Lighting Ceremony and Bajan Brew. You'll get more on that afterwards. That's from 5:30. 6th to 9th of November is the Food and Rum Festival. The 9th of November is Remembrance Day Parade and Service. On the 15th of November, we have the Spirit of the Nation Show. 16th of November, the National Independence Festival of Creative Arts, NIFCA Gala. The 18th of November is the President's Garden Party for centenarians at the State House. 19th of November is the President's Farewell Parade. On the 22nd day of November, we have the increasingly popular Protective Services Open Day.
Other activities include the National Church Service.
On the 22nd day of November will be the President's Farewell Reception at State House. The 23rd day of November is the National Thanksgiving Service. This will be at the Garfield Sobers Gymnasium from 10 a.m. On the 23rd of November, we're going to have the regathering marquee event for St. Michael. On the 28th of November will be the Independence Concert. That will be at Golden Square. It will be a tribute to Jackie Opel. On the 29th day of November at the Carifesta House in Waterford, we're going to have the Genealogy Marketplace.
The highlight, he says, will be the Independence Parade and Ceremony, where the country's second president will be installed.
And we culminate on the 30th day of November with the Independence Day Parade and Ceremony. The major features for the Independence Day this year will be the installation of the Barbados' second president. That is Lieutenant Colonel Jeffrey Bostic. We will have the presentation of the National Independence Insignia, the presentation of the Prime Minister's leadership badges, and to cap off Independence Day, we're going to have the finals of the Prime Minister's Cup, which will be at the same Kensington Oval.
From the newly commissioned Emergency Services Headquarters to the grandeur of Kensington Oval, Independence 2025 is not only a celebration of where Barbados has come from, but a proud statement of where it's heading. Deanza Roberts, CBC News.
Thanks, Deanza. Of course, the activities get started tomorrow in Independence Square with the Sagicor Life Inc. lighting ceremony. Coming up, more calls for a tougher stance against commercial practices lead to poor health. Local and regional health officials are being urged to take a stronger stand against the commercial practices that fuel poor health, particularly the harmful use of alcohol. Minister of State in the Ministry of Health and Wellness, the Honorable Davidson Ishmael, made the call as he addressed the National NCD Commission NGO workshop, which was held at the Courtyard by Marriott. Deanza Roberts attended and files this report.
The minister says, while alcohol remains deeply rooted in the country's culture and economy, the time has come to balance tradition with health protection.
We must face a difficult truth. Alcohol-based and related harms are among the most preventable causes of death and disability in our island. Excessive drinking contributes to road traffic accidents, violence, domestic abuse, mental health issues, and a wide range of chronic diseases such as liver cirrhosis, certain cancers, and of course, heart disease. Our national approach must therefore be culturally sensitive, but uncompromising in its protection of health.
He says the government's approach will focus on transparency, stronger regulations, and partnerships that prioritize people over profit. He says this has to be the way forward.
So when we talk about the commercial determinants, we are not condemning commerce in and of itself. Commerce and entrepreneurship are vital to our nation's development. But instead, we are acknowledging that business decisions, advertising strategies, and even political lobbying can shape what people eat, drink, and believe about health. Our task, therefore, as public health leaders and all of you who are here in this room, is to ensure that commerce serves the people, not the other way around.
Minister Ishmael outlined key strategies under the National Strategic Plan for NCDs 2023 to 2030. Among them, reviewing taxes and restricting access.
Strengthening restrictions on alcohol availability. And this speaks to reviewing laws and licensing systems to ensure that alcohol is not too easily accessible, especially to our young people. 2, advancing and enforcing drink driving countermeasures. Barbados now has breathalyzer legislation, but full implementation requires coordination, including the law enforcement and transport sectors. Thirdly, facilitating access to screening and treatment for alcohol use disorders. Our health system must be ready to provide help, not punishment, for those struggling with addiction. Fourth, restrictions on alcohol advertising, sponsorship, and promotion need to be examined, particularly where young audiences are targeted. And 5, ensuring that alcohol taxation aligns with evidence.
By 2030, the country aims to reduce the harmful use of alcohol by at least 10%, a target that health officials say is possible if policy and partnership remain strong. Deanza Roberts, CBC News.
The Ministry of Transport and Works is moving ahead with a phased plan to ease congestion and improve safety on Barbados roads. Deputy Chief Technical Officer Jason Bowen says the initiative forms part of the ministry's ongoing efforts to create a safer and more efficient road network, particularly during peak hours. He explained that the first phase will begin in November with a pilot project along selected routes.
The plan commences during November with a pilot project, as previously announced by the Prime Minister, along certain routes, which allows for testing on a small scale to identify potential problems, gather feedback, and refine the plan before a full-scale launch. The pilot stage will also allow for the capturing of valuable additional data as well as feedback for stakeholders and residents of areas along the pilot traffic corridors.
Among the traffic management strategies, one-way traffic flows at peak times, park and ride facilities, and staggered school hours. Public feedback sessions will begin next week, and the full rollout will take place in stages over the coming year. Police are conducting investigations into a shooting at Maxwell View, Silver Hill, Christchurch, which occurred about 6:45 p.m. yesterday. Initial inquiries indicate that a man was sitting on a step at the front of a residence when two people got out of a car and fired several shots, injuring him. He was taken for medical attention in a private car. Police are appealing to anyone who witnessed the incident or has any information that could assist the investigations to contact the Crime Stoppers hotline at 1-800-8477, Police Emergency at 211, or the Oistins Police Station at 418-2612.
Sports Night is brought to you by Power In. Pause is power. And by Dasani. Live first, Dasani after.
It's time for Damien Best to bring us some great news. Good night to you, Damien.
Barbados' top female surfer, Chelsea Tuat, has advanced to the round of 16 of the World Surf League 4000, the marginal Surf Pro in Puerto Rico. Tuat delivered the highest single wave score of the women's division in her round of 32 heat, scoring a 7.67 to take the win. Meanwhile, on the men's side, Josh Burke's heat was postponed to tomorrow due to the weather. However, it was a tough day for all of the other Bajan surfers. Tommaso Layson was eliminated in the men's round of 64, so too Jacob Burke. Then Ocean Gittins went out in the round of 128, and Louis St. John in the round of 96. Well, the St. Michael's School Cougars overpowered Comomere with a complete team effort in their latest matchup of the Co-operators General Insurance NSC Under-19 basketball tournament. Playing at Waterford, SMS never trailed in a 31-point victory.
Comomere in blue hosting the St. Michael's School. Active hands from Cruz Holford. Surveys and finds his spot. Deep two got it. Comomere now with possession on the fast break. Nathan Phillips under the cup. Banks it in. Nathaniel Selman then followed that up with a mid-range dagger. Had a team-high 17 points. But it was SMS who were flying high in the first half. No transition defense from the Waterford boys and punished. Jordan Blackman up fake. Game-high 23 points. The movement off the ball leaving several pockets for the Cougars to operate in. Two more. By the break, SMS were up by 6, 27-21. Blackman in his element. Change of ends for the second half. Outlet pass. Blackman with the save. Seamus O'Shea, 2 bites at the cherry, getting it done. Comomere trying to generate consistent offense. Kerry Aline with the long levers, gets to the hole and deposits. However, the entire SMS unit was reading from the same script. Jaden Nurse slicing and dicing through the paint, too easy. Amazingly, heading into the final quarter, St. Michael's School were only up by 8 points, but Comomere struggled to score. Ari Motley Squire Steele has no traffic at all, contributed 12 points. Selman was like the Lone Ranger that could not be contained. What a pass, finger roll and in. But the SMS Express was speeding towards the win. Motley Squire smooth. The visitors, St. Michael's School, eventually registering a big win over Comomere, 64-33.
A new digital company, Fun Miles Network, has officially opened its doors for business in Barbados. The managing director highlighted that Barbados is at the cutting edge of technology, boasting a stable economy and position for further development. Trevor Thorpe reports.
Barbados' development makes it the ideal place for the Fun Miles digital network. Managing Director Wouter Delou tells the business report they have been operating in the Dutch Caribbean for nearly 30 years.
One of the reasons why we chose Barbados is that Barbados has a very large and diverse business community with a lot of small and medium-sized businesses as well as some large companies. Being a digital program, we also needed a country with a good digital penetration, which Barbados has. And what's important for us either is that Barbados has a great workforce so that we can build our business here as well.
Mr. Dill says more is in the works for the country as the company expands.
Eventually, Barbados will have to serve as a hub into the region, a stepping stone to other Eastern Caribbean islands. So we're definitely looking to grow the business here.
The company head also says a groundswell of activities is planned and the Barbadians stand to benefit.
I'll be back early November to launch the end of year campaign that we're going to do. A huge digital campaign with our partners, with which Barbadians can win lots of great prizes when shopping at our partners.
The managing director says the Fun Miles network is for all companies, both large and small. Trevor Thorpe for the Business Report.
Sports Night is brought to you by Power In. Pause is power. And by Dasani. Live first, Dasani after.
Damien is back. Time for the second half of sports.
Yeah, thanks so much, Tisha. Well, Amas Sporting Services Barbados Masters have advanced to the final of the St. Vincent Independence International Masters T20 Festival after the semi-finals were washed out today. Not a ball was bowled at Park Hill against Monroe Road Masters. Thus, the Barbados club advanced due to a superior net run rate from the preliminary round. Tomorrow will be a repeat of last year's final against Windies Masters of Canada, when Amas Masters lost by just 4 runs in a rain-affected match. The final is set for Arnesville from 10 a.m. With 17 wins and 1 defeat under his belt, Barbadian Cobia Soldier Brady is hoping his recent victory over Dexter Marks of Ghana will elevate his rankings in the boxing arena. Brady registered a technical knockout and secured the WBC belt after Marks took some heavy blows during their super featherweight fight last weekend at the Lloyd Erskine Sandifer Center in the Barbados Bash. Well, speaking to CBC Sports from United States of America, where he resides, 34-year-old Brady says there are a lot of quality world champions in the 130 weight class, and he wants a chance to compete against them.
This belt here can boost my rankings for me to fight for a bigger world title, to fight the bigger names in boxing, in the top 20s, in the top 15, top 10s. I definitely looking forward to getting back in the ring with the best of the best. I want to shout out the promoter, Jeff Gatling, for making this happen before this won't be possible. Everybody, the government, whoever helps support the event. I want to give a shout out to everybody. I want to shout out everybody that come on and support. And I had a blast. It didn't settle in to me to know, that I win a WBC FICA belt to like today. Been traveling so much, didn't really get no time to really think about it and really have some time to to reflect on it and realize the great thing I did for myself, for my country, and my family.
Well, Brady also says there's more to come in terms of staging professional boxing cards in Barbados.
The good thing about this, you have somebody like Jeff Gatling from abroad, that has some type of connections and some type of, money to make things happen, So, the goal is to, he said he wants 3 fights, so he got 2 more fights. So whoever next promoter in Barbados that looking to do something with him or wherever, this is time for now to grow it. Everybody come together and make boxing bigger and greater together. And all the little youths that were looking for something to do, know that boxing, know that people get a taste of boxing in Barbados. Hopefully, a lot of these youngsters and people find a gym in Barbados and get ready or want to have a professional fight and really get in there to become great, because they have people abroad, that looking for talent.
Meanwhile, boxer Keithlin Action King is still reeling in celebration after capturing his WBC Cabo Fair belt following a brilliant win over Edmund DeClough. King knocked his Ghanaian opponent out in a bout that lasted less than 10 minutes. King says he's pleased with his performance.
the fight went to plan. The plan was to knock him out because he's talking a lot. You know, I wish that he just, you know, it's hanging there a little bit more, but, you know, he probably feel the power early and got nervous. So, you know, I hit him. I think he had enough, and that was it. Yeah, so the fight did go to plan because I did came to get the knockout, so I was happy I did.
Well, King also took the opportunity to call on corporate Barbados to support and invest.
We need somebody to take hold of the boxing. We need the boxing organization needs sponsorship, you know, and we need a team. Boxing is a sport that could change a lot of lives. And talking about changing life, I saw somebody made a comment on one of the posts by CBC where they was saying like, oh, there we go, they're promoting violence. Boxing is not violence. Boxing is not violence. Boxing actually saved life, because when I started at Parkinson School, I was not the nicest person. I love fighting, but boxing was able to channel my life into where I was like more of a humble person.
The Prime Minister's Cup Goal of the Week, brought to you by Power In, Pause is Power, and by Dasani, Live First, Dasani After.
Goals were plentiful on the opening night of the round of 16 in the Prime Minister's Cup. St Andrew Lions knocked out Tetney, and Wharton got over last year's runners-up Britons Hill. And this strike from Thierry Bradshaw has been voted as the goal of the week. Let's take a look.
His second defender, and it's over to that right-hand side, down the lane, foot race between two. The tackle is needed to be great, but it isn't. In on goal now, the Lions near post ball. The finish is brilliant. Superb finishing.
News, thank you so much for viewing. Do enjoy the rest of your night.